When it comes to religion, I was Muslim adjacent, which is to say that, the parents were attempting, you know, that's where it is that they were adjacent and next to and, trying to get us into it, me and siblings and whatnot. But eventually we went more the agnostic route. And I think that's where it just came just because of like how my parents did, you know. So when and that was when I was like really young. It's like I was too young to even like really know like what the fuck it was that was, going on. But around maybe 8 or to 8 to 15, I started like getting a general understanding of, what it was that was going on in terms of religion. Like, there's the Sky Daddy, they care, you go burn in hell if you don't do what they say, etc. Man, that's where it moved to after the Muslim adjacents. And, I found myself in a church, quote quote church, and I cried, when we're doing I don't know. It was like the worship, shit like that, in the place, and you're all singing, and you can feel the energy, but how much of that is real, and how much of that is, just in my mind, because I want to fit in. You know what I mean? And eventually, after so many prayers, I just stopped believing it. And then you turn to the atheism and learning more about the different types of faith out there. And one thing rang in my head that I'll never really understand, and it's that what God would allow all these things to be around for, what is it, would allow all these different types of religions and understandings of, how it is that we came to be. What kind of God would allow that if, you know, the belief in the wrong one is eternal damnation, torture, separation from God, or non-existence, what have you. You know what I mean? And that's what really just put me on to all of this is probably bullshit. And now that I've been at this conclusion for, I want to say, 8, 10 years, maybe more. But the point is that I've been on that conclusion for quite a long time, and the what is it? The place I'm at now is, you know, what the fuck do I do? Or how do I learn the truth if there is a, supposed truth to be learned? I don't know. I can't say. All I can do is, gain more information, and but how do I know that this information, is anything to go by? So, and correct me if I go all over the place, because I'm not entirely sure of the things that I'm saying and the correlations between them, but the texts of from Christianity, they can point back to Sumerian. No, I can't really give you a full diagnosis on what the ancient Sumerians were and what they did, but even me going back to that, I can't, I don't know. I don't know anything that would really, like, change my life, or, oh, this is like a revelation that, well, I know the truth, because doesn't really tell me anything. It just tells me that we have, gone back to another story which may or may not have been about celestial bodies, all the planets and shit, doing things in the as they were, forming. I don't know. Are we, what is it? Are we just creations of the gods here to, you know, follow in their footsteps, and then eventually they left for whatever reason? I don't know. Sorry about that. I just don't know. And which leads me to just not care, because, if I don't care, I don't have to think about it. I'd like to know. I'd like to know the truths. I'd like to, study, what is it, other different religions, but, who has the time when I'm thinking more about, like, how am I going to survive? How am I going to own a home? And, do I really need a home in the first place? No, not really, but, what home do I need if, you're not, if you don't have a family? Not that I'd want one anyway, because, then, divorce and, losing half your shit or more comes into mind, but I'm a bit lost at what it is that I should do when it comes to spirituality. And, I've dabbled in, whether it be lucid dreaming or astral projection, and, I've yet to know for sure if I've ever done that, but definitely, going through lucid dreaming, that's really fun. It's a fun place to be. I could make a video later and try to, express what it was that, I saw while doing them. But I don't know. Overall, I just feel it's pointless, and, I'm just here living. Who knows? Maybe be a Satanist. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. At least that I know. What are we doing tonight? A half moon? Looks like a half moon. Anyway, not that that matters. I'm just looking out the window trying to find a way to, keep talking about something that doesn't really have a point like this. But I don't know. Anyway, that's where I started off in Christianity, because yeah, basically it's where I started off, and, I'd be adjacent and invited to, go to church, and eventually it just fell out because it didn't really make much sense to me to do. So the main point in, the spirituality or religion and whatnot is, I started off in Christianity, and eventually I just gave up, because what the fuck am I gonna be in that for? Or worship some guy that's gonna, punish me and everybody else that doesn't believe, right? I don't care. Fuck it. I'm gonna be sitting in hell smoking a blunt with the devil himself, he, she, it, or I'm gonna, I don't know. I'm gonna be getting a pitchfork rammed up my ass, and then eventually it's gonna get to the point where I'm just like, okay, is that it? Yeah. It's like, what, it really doesn't make sense to me. It's just, I can go even deeper into the absurdity of it. It's just, you have literal beings, like the demons and shit, the guys that are supposedly supposed to torture you for all eternity, right? They're there, and they just, what's going on with them? Like, do they not understand? Are they not, conscious and aware of the things that they're doing? Do they not get bored of the fact that they're just going to be torturing people who, did finite crimes for an infinite punishment? It's just, the shit gets so ridiculous, it's just, I don't understand how, like, Christianity is still a thing. I mean, I do know, and it's because there are people out there who would rather have something to believe in than to not, because they're not strong enough to believe that. Or maybe they don't and they just believe that it's a great place to have community. But, communities are also a place where they can be abused by people. And you see that by the mega church niggas who, it's not about me, it's all about God as they fucking rappel from the rafters across the crowd. I'm sure you've seen the scene. You know, them motherfuckers make bank. I've thought to myself, what if I do that? What if I, pretend to be a Christian faith, right? And I just rack in the dough, just rack in the dough. What a 501c corporation. Oh man, I don't have to pay taxes on the money that the stupids give me. Yo, sign me up, But I don't know, man. That's the but I've thought about it definitely thought about it. But and I like to cope and say that, nah, I wouldn't be that dark. But the truth of the matter is, I would what is it? The truth of the matter and why it is that I don't do that is because that shit would just really fucking drain me. It would just be so tiresome. It's like I gotta pretend like I'm sucking Jesus's cock 24/7 to convince some other stupid motherfuckers that I'm of the faith and you should give me money. It's just it just doesn't sit with me. But anyway, that's been this episode today, and stay tuned for more. See ya.